The United States appears increasingly close to launching an attack on Iran, possibly within the next few days. While analysts can reasonably guess the likely targets, such as Revolutionary Guard bases, missile storage facilities, and potentially nuclear sites, what remains deeply uncertain is the final outcome. Experts have outlined 7 possible scenarios, ranging from relatively hopeful outcomes to truly catastrophic consequences. Scenario 1 is the most optimistic. The U.S. carries out limited, highly precise airstrikes, aiming to minimize civilian casualties. Key Revolutionary Guard installations are hit, senior leadership is neutralized, and select nuclear facilities are disabled. In this best-case scenario, the regime collapses, followed by a short period of instability before Iran eventually transitions toward a democratic system. However, history suggests this outcome is unlikely. Western military interventions in the Middle East, whether in Iraq, Libya, or Syria, have more often led to chaos rather than stability. Some point to a potential transitional figure who could temporarily lead the country and oversee elections, allowing Iran to reintegrate with the global community. But once again, this remains a highly optimistic assumption. Scenario 2 suggests the regime survives but is severely weakened. With overwhelming U.S. military power surrounding Iran, including permanent bases and newly deployed forces, the leadership could be forced to scale back its aggressive policies. Iran would remain intact but constrained, somewhat similar to the situation in Venezuela today. Scenario 3 envisions the collapse of the regime, followed by a military takeover. This would most likely not involve Iran's regular army, but rather the Revolutionary Guard and affiliated militias, which hold real power inside the country. Such an outcome would offer little relief to protesters and may not align with U.S. strategic goals. Scenario 4 involves direct retaliation. Iran has repeatedly warned it would respond forcefully to any attack. It still possesses enough missiles to strike U.S. bases across the region, as well as targets in Israel, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, and the UAE. Despite advanced air defense systems, some missiles would almost certainly get through. Scenario 5 focuses on the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical maritime choke points. Iran could deploy marine mines, disrupting nearly a quarter of global oil and gas shipments. This would severely impact the global economy. While such an action would also harm Iran and its key oil buyer, China, it remains a desperate but realistic option. Scenario 6 is one of the most alarming for the U.S. Navy. Iran could deploy swarm tactics, using large numbers of explosive drones, fast boats, and torpedoes to overwhelm U.S. naval defenses. Even sinking a single American warship would be a massive psychological and political blow. The capture of U.S. personnel would escalate the crisis dramatically, recalling the traumatic hostage crisis of 1980. Scenario 7 is perhaps the most dangerous of all. The regime collapses, but instead of stability, Iran descends into violent chaos. Ethnic tensions emerge, weapons spread uncontrollably, and long-suppressed divisions explode into open conflict. The result could be a massive humanitarian disaster and refugee crisis affecting the entire region. This is precisely why countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE are so deeply concerned. Starting a war is easy, predicting how it ends is not. The greatest fear is that political pressure and the desire to save face could push leaders into action without a clear plan for what comes next.